Hey there folks, Random Game Channel. This is another gameplay tips video, but this time I'll have 7 Demolisher gameplay tips I hope that will help you improve your gameplay. Alright, so just like last time I want to go over pretty much like the loadout, and that'll be tip number 1. So, what you can see here for my primary, I have the C-32 Chi-Hung grenade launcher. And I also have that as my secondary as well. I'll be able to equip this because of the extra primary perk, which allows you to carry 2 weapons, or 2 primary weapons in your loadout. I originally saw another content creator do that, and I thought, that'd be pretty fun to do, and I'll go over a little bit more about those details in a little bit. So there's 2 kind of ways that I think you can build out a Demolisher. One of them I'm going to be calling just maximum damage, and the other one is more of like a support role. So in the maximum damage kind of role, I really just want to destroy as many bugs as possible. That's why I'm equipping 2 grenade launchers. The grenade launcher can pretty much clear out a lot of bugs at once, great at destroying a large cluster of them. The only thing though, you'll eat through your ammo really fast, so it's a good idea to bring a secondary launcher. So yeah. Now if you wanted to go in more of like a support role, you can go with like the Merida. Everybody knows that Merida is pretty reliable. You can hit anything at any range. The only thing that's going to affect you is like how good you can control the recoil. So if you see something, very far away and you're trying to, kill that bug, like for example a gunner, you're going to want to use the Merida for the Chi-Hung grenade launcher because the range on this thing can be pretty limited, especially if you have a hard time gauging distances and kind of compensating for that. So the next stuff here I want to go over is like the utilities. Right now, unfortunately, there isn't really too many options. But the first one that I have equipped here is the thermal charge. I think you'll be able to have I think 6 total before the game just kind of destroys the ones you already set on the field. But this is really good for defending a fixed objective. It's not really useful if you're on the move, so it's something to keep in mind. And also another thing, if you don't know already, in order to set it off, you need to prime the charger, which takes a couple of seconds to do, and you have to actually look at the thermal charge and then use your right click mouse button to set it off. The damage output on this is pretty strong, and it can kill a lot of the arachnids at once. The next thing is the nuclear death pack. It does have a 30-second timer, and it can hurt other troopers, including yourself. But I don't really find this one to be too useful because you need to kind of set this in front of an oncoming horde, and if you're not careful, they're gonna eat you. So I don't really use this all too often, only as a thing to kind of get an extra point or 2 on the scoreboard. Now, as far as the grenade goes, if you're looking for maximum damage, right, I recommend the good old MX-90 grenade. it just deals a lot of damage and has a really good blast radius. I also recommend using the cluster grenade because the area that it can cover is really big. And if it doesn't like kill a bug outright, it'll still do a lot of stun damage to them. So buy you enough time to finish them off with like a grenade launcher or even throwing your own cluster grenade. Now if you're going more of like the support role or wanted to be more of a support kind of demolisher, you can always use the lure grenade. I find that this thing can really pull off a arachnid off someone because they'll be attracted to this thing. As far as damage goes, I haven't really noticed it doing too much damage. So you can kind of control the battlefield and move bugs away from other people. Really useful for when like a trooper is down and you want to try to revive them. This would be a good thing to use. So that's why I kind of consider this more of like a support kind of item, right? And let's just move into the perks now. Or actually, let me rewind and go back to the grenades. So we do have the napalm grenade. But, I don't really like these damage over time kind of things. Especially if it's going to obscure your line of sight and the line of sight of the other troopers. Now, with the arachnids, there's not going to be much that's going to like stop them. The only surefire way to get them to stop attacking you is to kill them right away, right? So with a napalm grenade, that's not going to do it for you. They're not going to die right away. And if you're fighting on Agni Prime, and you see fire warriors, this napalm grenade, it's not going to really do too much for you because they take less damage from this, I believe. So that's the reason why I don't really like using this one at all. Alright, so let's move into the perks. I really like the extra primary one because it will allow me to use 2 grenade launchers at once. This allows me to be on the field a lot longer than if I only had one. So you use one, you're just going to eat through your ammo really fast because you're only going to be able to carry 6 in one mag. So you're going to be less reliant on other people dropping ammo crates and stuff for you. Makes you a little more autonomous in your your gameplay. Next one is magazine bandolier, or however you say that word. This is great because it'll just increase your magazine capacity. So that means you just stay out on the field a lot longer, kill as many bugs as you want before you have to reload everything. So that's why I really like using this. The next one is improved grenade cooldown. I really like it on the Demolisher because you can just, get your grenades back quicker. So the main theme behind like my max damage loadout is that you're always going to be, blowing something up with like either your primary grenade or with the grenade launchers. So yeah, that's kind of what I have for most of my loadout here. And before we move on to the next gameplay tip, I want to go over the special class abilities. So for Explosive Expert, I'm not really sure what this really does, except that, in my mind, it just says to me that the Demolisher gets access to all the, cool explosive toys out there that the Federation has. So I think that's what it's really there for. However, the next one is more important, barrage. So how this works is that When you use this ability, it's going to launch 3 grenades at your desired location. It can range from close range to kind of like a medium range. And a little bit later in this video, I'll show you how that works. But the grenades that it shoots out will depend on the grenade that you have equipped here. So for example, if you have the MX-90 equipped, Barrage is going to launch 3 of them out onto the field at your desired location. So it's pretty useful if you want to destroy something really big all at once, or stop a large crowd from rushing you and the other troopers. So that's a pretty handy thing to use. Um, so yeah, let's see what else we got here. I think that's about all I had for tip number 1. So let's just switch real quick and I'll meet you all back in the training simulator that they have in the game. Alright, so I finally loaded up the training simulator that they have here, and let's just go into tip number 2, which is how to use the grenade launcher. Sure, it's just like any other weapon out there, you just point and click, things go boom. But with a grenade launcher, there's a little more to it than that. So, if you're just starting out new, or even if you're a veteran player, you'll probably encounter situations where there's a bug that's kind of like far away from you, and you might not always be able to hit it on the first go, right? So for tip number 2, we're going to talk about how to adjust for elevation and how we can use our little sight lines, which you can see in my crosshairs, and use that to help us gauge the elevation that we need to aim at. Alright, so say for instance I want to hit the mobile HQ. Let's just kind of back up to the very corner here, okay? So if I aim down the sights, you'll see these like horizontal lines form as part of my crosshair. I'm not really sure what the jargon is for what you call these, but I use these to help me gauge how, far up to aim the grenade launcher to account for the distance. So if I happen to just, aim directly at this, let's just see what happens. Doesn't really go that far, right? You can see it kind of impacted about halfway to the target. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim at the center of the mobile HQ with the top part of my crosshair, and I'm just going to go up 1 tick. So let's see how that goes. A little bit further, but still doesn't really reach, right? So let's go up about 1 more. So we're on a 3rd one now. We're on the 3rd tick. As you can see, we're getting a little bit closer, right? So let's just go up 1 more. About like right there. We're really close. As you can see, the further up, or the more you aim vertically, the greater the distance the grenade will travel. So let's go up 1 more time. There you go. We hit the very bottom of the mobile HQ. So why don't we just go up a little bit more and let's see if we can hit the center of this thing. Close enough. So that's kind of one way that you can use to help you gauge the distance and land the grenade onto a potential target. Now you don't need to like aim down the sights to do this, but it's a lot easier because it kind of zooms in a little bit more. Even like when you're not really aiming down sights, you still get these little lines here for your crosshair. So let's just see, if I can reproduce this and kind of eyeball this. Oh yeah, not too bad, right? So the same kind of thought applies. Use the horizontal lines that's in your crosshair and kind of gauge the distance. So let's try, shooting at that little rock over there. I assume it's going to probably be something like this. So let's see if I can hit it in one go. Pretty close, right? So that just kind of comes with practice. But eventually you'll be able to get there. It just takes a little time to, get that experience down in your toolkit. So let's just go through the same kind of exercise again. I'm going to use the top part of my crosshair and kind of aim at the middle of that little rock. So let's see how this goes when I just aim directly at the center. Not too far, right? So let's go up, see where we're about here, so let's go up one more. So now the second line is pointing at the center of that rock. Still didn't really travel that far, right? So let's go up again. Still gonna aim the center of that third line to the center of that rock. So we're still falling pretty short, right? So let's do it again. We're gonna go up to the very last line and keeping it on the center of that rock. Okay, so we're starting to make a little progress here, and we can tell that the grenade is traveling a little further. So let's just go up one more tick here. So you're going to need to eyeball this now because we ran out of those lines. So now I'm aiming the very bottom line to the top of that rock. We're getting pretty close. So I'm just going to reload real quick. Okay, so let's go up one more time. Let's try it. Okay, we're getting pretty close. We're one full mark above the rock now, so let's try going up one more time. We're going to place the very bottom line of the crosshair at the next kind of line in the rock, which is about right here at the rock wall. So hopefully we'll be able to hit the tiny rock below it. Oh, we're getting really close. So let's just try one more time. We're going to go up a little bit more. Oh, we're still short. So as you can see, the further you aim the grenade launcher, the further the grenade will travel, right? So let's go up a little bit more now and see if that will land on the rock. Yeah, we're almost there. We're like at the very base of it, right? So let's wait for the cloud to settle. We're going to aim a little bit higher. We're pretty close. Let's try one more time. looks like we overshot it. So, it just takes a lot of practice. Let's see if we can get it about right here. Or maybe a little bit higher. There you go. So, just like I said, you just need to work on it. Don't get too frustrated if you can't hit things all the time. Um, so maybe let's try something a little closer like that rock. Let's just try to eyeball it this time. There you go. Not too much measuring. It is a little bit closer. Um, so just gotta work on it. So what I like to do, if you're trying to hit a target that's a little further away, what I like to do is I just send out 2 grenades. So if it's gonna hit, it's gonna kill it, right? This way you're not just like shoot, look, bug still coming at you. If you do 2 shots, it's gonna kill the average arachnid. So yeah, that's kind of how it looks like to use the grenade launcher. Alright, let's just take a second and kind of talk about the thermal charge. We kind of talked about it briefly in tip 1, but for tip number 3, let's just talk about it a little bit more. So the reason why I think this is really good for defending a fixed position is because you physically need to switch to it, set the charge. It takes a couple seconds. Bugs might be coming at you, so it's not really good to use it if you're on the move, right? Because you gotta set it. You might do something else, switch to your weapon. So you gotta switch back to it. You gotta prime it. That's another few seconds. Bugs are still coming at you, and you gotta look at it, to detonate it. So, not really good if you're out in the open, like for advanced and secure, or if you're doing like a side objective for horde mode or the arc mode. Even for hive mode, it's not going to be too useful if you're on the go a lot. However, it's really good like if you are in a established area, like you're in a base or you're defending an objective. All you need to do is just set it on the ground, wait for the bugs to come to you, and then you detonate it. So it has its uses and it has its limitations. I believe you can only have 6 out on the field before it just starts destroying themselves. Well, let's test that theory. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you can have 8 on the field before it starts to hurt you, or before it blows itself up. So keep that in mind. If you really want to set these out, reload, grab them from the ammo crate, and you can set out 8 charges. Alright, so let's just talk about how to use barrage. This thing's pretty handy. It can be a little hard to use. You can do barrage at close to maximum range. Or not maximum range, I'm sorry. Close to medium range. So all you need to do, Sometimes this doesn't always work though. By hold down the class ability button, and then you can see that you can kind of move around, pivot, and you can kind of move the mouse up and down to change the range. But however, when you move it back towards you, it won't show you the, you know, where is it? Here, it won't show you the final destination for where it's going to launch. So it's kind of hard to gauge, you know, where this thing will drop if it's going to be at close range. But as you can see from about where the same spot we tested the grenade launcher to where the mobile HQ is, that's like kind of the maximum the uh, barrage will go. So let's just release this now and see what that looks like. Not too bad, right? That can deal a lot of damage to a lot of incoming bugs. Just kind of keep in mind if like the grenade has like a little timer, it's gonna take a couple seconds for it to blow itself up essentially. And a really nice combo that I kind of thought of that might be kind of cool to try out is that if you see bugs coming at you, you can't really get the timing down. You just shoot a couple grenades at them, that'll kind of stun them, and then use the barrage on them to finish them up. Or what you can do for the second kind of combo is that you use the barrage ability and then you use the grenade launcher to finish up any surviving bugs, right? So, for example, let's try something that's at close range. We finish it up with the grenade launcher, right? So that's tip number 4 for you. So the next one I want to go over for tip number 5 is friendly fire. Now the entire time that I've been playing with the grenade launcher and like older versions of the game up to the current one, I mean it does deal some damage, but it's not going to be enough to like down a trooper, at least in my experience. So don't be afraid to shoot this next to a trooper, especially if there's like a bug next to them. Like the bug is definitely gonna, kill the trooper if you don't shoot at it, right? So what the damage kind of looks like is this. Let's just try it on ourselves here. Very minimal. It hardly moves the health bar. As you can see, it's not really, hurting us all too much. So, don't worry about really hurting other people too much. The next thing is the thermal charge. This thing's not really gonna hurt anyone either, so let's see what this looks like for the damage. Very minimal, right? So, as you can see, it barely moved the health bar. It might be a little bit different on higher difficulties, but in general, don't worry about setting these off next to a trooper. They're not really going to get hurt by these things. That doesn't mean you should abuse this damage, because this is a cooperative game, of course, and we all should be working together to eradicate the bug menace. So don't be a bad sport and you'll ruin the game for other people, okay? So the next one I want to show you is the nuclear det pack. It does take a while for you to set this, but when you do, you know, it's got a little timer, it's counting down. It takes forever, so, you know, a bug could potentially just run past this thing. But as you can see, it doesn't really hurt you too much. Hurts you a lot more than all the other stuff, but not as much as, you know, the other equipment that we have. Um, and the last thing we should look at is our grenade that we can throw by hand. So let's just kind of throw it at our feet here.
Grenade going out.
It barely tickled us, so you know, don't worry about throwing a grenade next to a trooper. Alright, that's about it for all of our equipment, but what about barrage, right? Well, let's just test it out right here. Let's see. Doesn't even do any damage to ourselves, so it's probably not gonna like hurt another trooper. So you can safely detonate this into a scrum, and the only thing that's gonna get hurt is the bug. So yeah, that's tip number 5. Alright, so just wanted to kind of talk about kind of like the pros and cons of like either going with a max damage kind of build or a more of a support build. Is that with the max damage build, you can easily clear up a whole group of bugs all at once, and it's really great at clearing a pathway for troopers to either get into a spot where they need to be like repairing a structure or reviving a downed trooper. It even allows you kind of like a clear path when you're kind of like running to an extraction zone. Um, so those are like the pros of the max build or max damage build. But where this thing kind of struggles is if you see a long distance target, it's going to be kind of hard to hit something at long range, especially if you're not like really accustomed to it. So that's like the only downside to just running full on grenade launcher. So, you know, it just takes a little practice, but even if you're like very experienced using this thing, it's still going to be kind of hard to, you know, hit something at long range. However, let's just take a quick second and talk about kind of like more of like the support build. So with the support build, you'll be using the Merida alongside the grenade launcher, and you can use the Merida to pick off higher priority targets at longer range, or even keep a bug occupied long enough for, like, for example, a sniper or a ranger to destroy that target. Also, with a lure grenade, you'll be able to, like the name says, lure arachnids to wherever the grenade's gonna go. So let's just pretend I have the lure grenade on, right? If I throw it over there, any bugs in close proximity is gonna go to where that where you've thrown the grenade. It's great for setting up ambushes, getting bugs off of people so you can revive them, get them away from an objective so you can repair, rebuild, and heal up, right? The only downside with this, like more of a support role, is that you're going to be essentially dealing with less damage because your grenades aren't going to be really killing any of the arachnids. The only thing that's going to be dealing damage is like the grenade launcher, which can run out really fast, and the Merida just takes a longer time to down any kind of bug. So those are like the pros and cons of each build, and you can kind of play it to whatever style you like, but that's just kind of like my thoughts and opinions on the loadout and things like that. And yeah, that's all I had for tip number 6. So let's move into tip number 7. Um, so I think there was like a secret button around here that's supposed to spawn in a bug. I think it was supposed to be around here somewhere. I just saw it. Where'd it go? Was the first time I'm actually trying this out. Alright. Let's see. I'm just gonna run up on top of the mobile HQ. Are they supposed to be coming? Huh. I guess it doesn't work anymore. Well, anyways, as I'm trying to figure this out, let's just kind of talk about um, like the damage that this thing can do to a bug, right? Let's just go over that real quick. So, um, with the grenade launcher, it's gonna take one grenade to kill a drone and a bombardier. For a warrior and a fire warrior, it's gonna take 2 grenades to kill them. However, with a tiger and an inferno bug, it can take anywhere between like 4 or more grenades. So um, they're pretty hard to take down. I've seen situations where, depending on the mutator, that it can take, you know, 2 or more mags to down infernos and tigers. So be careful if you see them because they're quite powerful. And here's a extra tip for inferno bugs. If you happen to walk up, you know, within 5 or so meters of them, they're gonna stop spewing the fireball. So it's good to do that when um, it's relentlessly targeting the spawn bunker. Um, you don't even have to like kill it. You just try to distract it long enough for your troopers to move up out of the kill zone and then wrap up the bugs in the area. Now with the last bug out there, the grenadier, um, it's going to take a total of 6 grenades to kill one at full health. So aim carefully and you should be able to kill it rather easily. But then I forgot there's actually 2 more bugs. With the Royal Guard, I've never successfully killed this thing on my own, and this thing can take anywhere between like 2 or more mags. So I've shot like a full mag into it and it has not died. It's even taken damage from like you know, a few thermal charges and it's still coming. So you know, use everything at your arsenal to take that Royal Guard down. Now with the last bug, the gunner bug, it's just going to take 2 grenades to kill the darn thing. And that's pretty much it. That's my last tip. That was tip number 7. I hope that helps you, with your gameplay. And if you have any questions, you can always send that into the comments, and I'll take a look at it. Thank you.